Life has this miraculous way of assembling itself for you based on your true path in life and your vision and, this life that you want to live. If you allow it, you have to allow life to assemble itself around you. If you're trying too hard to wrestle with it, grapple with it, beat it into submission in the way that you want it to look and the way that you believe it should look, oftentimes that doesn't work. And I've found from personal experience that when you let go, you release a little bit and just relax and allow life to assemble itself before you, allow life to unfold before you, kind of like a flower blossoming, you will find that the situation you end up in is going to be perfect to what you imagined, and in fact, even better. Now, I know this from personal experience because I have lived this in the past few weeks of my life. And the story is that I moved to a new city. Right? I moved to a new city and it was not easy because I moved blind. I had no job, I had no place to live, and I just arrived in my car with all my gear, packed to the gunnels inside my car, and that was my life. And I was forced to live in hostels and be in this kind of limbo state until I ground myself here in this new city. But anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share a reflection that I did in my journal when I finally arrived in my flat in this place that I live now, this room that you can see here. And I'm just going to share this story on how, with a little bit of trust and patience and allowing life to just unfold naturally before me, my circumstance ended up being way more than I imagined, like better than I could have possibly conceived it could be, right? So the day is Tuesday, the 3rd of February, and I have officially landed in Wellington. And by landed, what I really mean by that is that I have secured both key ingredients, a flat and a job. I woke up this morning to a new email from my new employer offering me the position as sales rep appointment setter for this company. The trial shift clearly went well, but even if it didn't, this job felt serendipitous and inevitable. In fact, this whole move was fortuitous. It took a month to land, but I just trusted that I would find myself in nothing short of the ideal circumstance. So that's the main point that I'm making in this video. It's that when I decided to make this move, when I arrived on the ferry looking upon this new city that was going to be my home, I was looking around wondering where I was going to live, where I was going to work. All of these things were yet a mystery to me. But I just trusted, I said, you know what? I'm just going to trust that it's going to work out for me. I'm going to trust that, I have this idea of what I want in my mind. I want this beautiful place to live, a spacious room where I can create all of the videos and art pieces and music, to my heart's desire. And I want a job where I can actually just work from home, where I don't have to spend time commuting to the city, where I can do the hours that I want to, and I can still have time for myself and my own creative projects and nourishing my own heart, my own mind, and my own body, right? That's what I wanted. That's what I had in my mind. And I was looking at the city and I said, you know what, Wellington, I just trust you. I trust that you're going to lead me down the right path. And what unfolded is even better than what I imagined. This is the truth. It really is. But I'm not surprised. I knew this was going to happen. This was the intention. It required a bit of time, patience, and trust, right? Those are the three ingredients. You need to have an idea of what you want to unfold and how you want your life to assemble in front of you, right? But you have to trust in that vision, and you have to be patient because it might take time. In my instance, it took a whole month, and I was in that limbo state for a whole month, and it wasn't easy. I'll tell you that. It wasn't easy being in this limbo state, right? There is a wizardry to the unfolding of things. This is what I wrote. And I know that now. I have learned that powerful lesson this month, that everything is leading towards the ideal circumstance if you allow it. I viewed about 10 flats. I wasn't enamored with any of them. For most of those rooms, they weren't quite right, with something a little off there or over there. Either it was a parking issue, nowhere to park my car, or the room was too small, or there were no windows, or the kitchen was a mess, it was like a student flat, or there was a dead rat on the path up to the flat, which just felt like an omen to me. When I was approaching this flat in this dingy valley, there was this dead rat there on the pavement. It just put an impression upon me that this is not right. You know, I have this vision of this beautiful place that I wanted to live. A dead rat was quite contrary to that vision. One place was somewhat suitable with a nice view, such that I expressed my interest out of desperation. So this is the thing, it's not easy to maintain that, posture of trust. I struggled, and I got into this state of desperation where I felt like, oh no, it isn't going to work out for me. Am I going to be in hostels my whole life? Let me just apply for this place, which is somewhat decent. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't what I had imagined, but it would do. I didn't get the room, and I'm glad, because it was too small, or rather, it was never my room to get, because there was a much more suitable room with better views later down the road. And that is the truth, When you're operating from this place of desperation, you might settle for something less than what you deserve. And that was that instance. I was never meant to be in that room, though I did express my interest for it. I didn't get it. Now, why is that the case? Because there was this room here that was just waiting for me just a little bit further along. And I only needed to trust and be patient that I would arrive in this room, which in the end I did. And indeed, it paid off handsomely, for the room I ended up securing was, or is, considerably more suitable than every other room I viewed. It's this room here. It's absolutely perfect in every kind of way. There is this beautiful view out my window. It is sunny. It is spacious. It has this lovely blue wall, which I can use for my, I make videos online, and it just looks great on camera. It's just a beautiful house. The flatmates are fantastic. There's only 2 of them. They're older, more mature. It's a beautiful suburb. It's perfect in every way. Precisely what I had imagined, and so much more. I've been running around this neighborhood as well. I love to go on runs. It's one of the great ways that you can explore your local area, and getting a sense of how this chapter of my life is going to look and feel, because this is where I live. This is my base now, and I feel so blessed that this is now where I live. The same goes for my new job as well. This is the other side of the picture that I started this anecdote with. I applied for a number of positions, about 12 all up, right? And I was offered a job as a barman as soon as I arrived to Wellington. I have experience in hospitality. I could have accepted this job. This guy was offering me this position as a barman. It was work I could do, and I almost pulled the trigger on that one as well out of desperation, because that job, it was going to give me work and income straight out of the gate. It was work that I could do, that I was familiar with. But he was offering me, hospitality wages. It was like, it wasn't as much money as I wanted to earn, and it was a full-time position. I wasn't going to have time for myself. I was going to be working in evenings. The point is that this job was not compatible with the life that I wanted to build here in Wellington. And even though I was so close to pulling the trigger, I pulled back again. What did I say? Again, harking to that initial counsel and intention when I was arriving here in Wellington on that boat, saying that I'm going to trust and I'm going to be patient. I'm going to trust that I'm going to land in the right situation. And this situation is going to be aligned specifically to how I want to create my life going forward and how I want my life to feel. I refused to accept, upon reviewing, a wish for a job I could work from home for less hours and better pay. That's what I had in my mind when I refused this bar position. I said, no, I actually want to work from home. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm going to find it, and I'm going to get paid more, a lot more, because I feel like that's what I deserve at this point in my life. I have more value to provide an employer. So I pulled back. I got a call back from another job as a drum tutor. You know, I'm a drummer, I'm a musician. I could have taken this job. And there was a promising back and forth, even though I didn't feel entirely suitable for the position. You know, I'm actually a pianist, a keyboard player. I teach the piano. In his email back to me, he was asking me if I would be comfortable teaching advanced drums. To which I replied, yes, of course, I'm comfortable with that. But inside, I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe not entirely comfortable. As well, this was a position somewhat out of town. It was part-time, but it certainly wasn't work from home. It was work halfway across the country. You know, reserving even less time for myself. It may as well be a full-time position, right? The point is that this job was not in alignment to what I wanted. I felt a little scorned after they ghosted me, in fact, when I sent them a video of my drumming, which they requested. But I didn't worry about that. I just trusted. And it turned out that the casual last-minute application that I made for a work-from-home sales position landed me a phone interview, a trial shift, and ultimately a job. Everything just assembled before me so miraculously, all as if it was destined, and I really do believe it was. It's almost comical how perfectly aligned this job is to what I had imagined. The hours, the pay, the skill set development, you know, the fact that I can just work from home, it's part-time. And again, the pay is considerably better than that bar position, and it's in a whole new industry. And so through this experience, I've learned that patience and trust are the two key ingredients. A vision, high standards for oneself, and a wish to walk one's true path in life as well. These three things are non-negotiable, because without these things, life will struggle to assemble itself around you, because you're not entirely sure on, you know, what your worth is and where you're actually heading in life, what direction you're heading in. The world will unfold like a big old game of pass the parcel, except that every time you open another layer, the gift revealed is exactly what you were hoping for, and so much more. That is the true meaning of fortune. Okay, so that's my reflection, and that's the story of my life in the past few weeks. Now I'm here in this new space, and I'm really absolutely thrilled to be here, and I've got this foundation, I've got this, you know, perfect dream job that I'm still dumbfounded that I'm here in this perfect place, and I have this job. I'm absolutely blessed, and I don't sit here to sit on my high horse and say, well, look at me, it wasn't easy. This is just a story that I'm sharing. It's an anecdote, and I'm sharing it to inspire you to trust and have patience and have a vision for what you want your life to look like, and believe that it is possible, and allow life to assemble itself before you with that vision in mind and that high standard for what you want your life to look like and to feel like. And I do believe that you will absolutely achieve this dream life of yours. All right, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. The journey has only just begun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.